Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Reema Tendulkar. With me, Sonal Bhutra, and these are the top stories that we're tracking at 1:30 p.m. NSE swing back into the green, recovering from session lows. Midcaps continue to outperform.
Time makers surge as demand bounces back with a series of auto launches and the easing of supply and inflationary pressures. Apollo, SEAT and JK Tyres gain on the back of premiumization launches as well.
Blockbuster debut for airport services provider Dreamfolks. Shares list in over 55% premium. Southeast Asia and West Asia markets are the company's key focus areas. The management tells CNBC-TV18 that it aims to maintain gross margins at 15%.
Kalpataru Power surges on the back of new orders worth over 1,300 crore rupees.
Narayana Health gains on its plans to acquire a Bengaluru-based hospital for 200 crores.
All right, those are some of the stocks and headlines which are in focus today for the markets. However, we have seen a sharp recovery from the lows of the day. So the Nifty is sitting with gains of 40 points as we speak. Still not at the session's highs, but maintaining that level in the green. We have the Bank Nifty sitting with gains of 0.2%, but it's really the mid-cap side of things which are surging and outperforming the benchmark indices. That index is up 0.6%. And we have a lot of individual movers that are in focus today. But it's a good time to get a technical check on the market as well. We are welcoming Rahul Sharma of JM Financial Services for just that. Rahul, good afternoon. Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, we start in the red, and again, it is a market where these dips are getting bought. But do you think, considering the global backdrop that we are in, and we have been actually not going as per global markets, will continue this momentum?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. Yes, we have been defying gravity as far as Nifty is concerned, in spite of the global cues, especially US markets negative in the last 2 weeks. Nifty has done relatively much better. I think that goes to show the relative strength that our markets are exhibiting. And in case there is a bounce back in the US markets, we may very well see Nifty heading towards the 18,000 mark. So my sense is as long as 17,500 is not broken on the Nifty, we should stay put. And the overall setup in the Nifty remains of that of a range-bound trade. On the upside, if we do cross 17,777, which is the high which made on 30th August, I think Nifty will then change gears and we should be heading beyond 18,000 and above. As far as the Midcap index is concerned, this index is relatively strong. In fact, stronger, I would say. And it's hovering around the 10-day moving average. In fact, it hasn't closed below its 10-day moving average since many days now. I believe midcaps are here to outperform. And if we simply do a ratio analysis, ratio chart of the midcap index versus the Nifty, it is on the verge of a breakout, which means midcaps could be in store for more action in the coming days and weeks.
Okay, so 17,777 is the crucial level to track on the Nifty. If we manage to breach it, then we could head higher to levels of 18,000 as well. What about individual stocks?
Yeah, so one of these stocks, especially since this is a mid-cap show, Tata Power is one of those setups which looks quite promising. The stock has come out from an elongated consolidation period of many weeks now, and today it has all the right ingredients of breakout, spurts in volumes, long built-up seen on the derivative side. I think this stock is headed for 260, 270 on the upside and can be bought with a 235 rupee stop loss, so around 10 rupee risk. But the kind of breakout that we're witnessing, I think momentum is there on this one. So that remains our favorite pick on the mid-caps. Another mid-cap bank which is ripe for a breakout is AU Small Finance Bank. This stock has been hovering around the 660 mark. I think a breakout from these levels should see the stock crossing 700 and above. So AU Bank is another stock which can be bought. We save the stop loss of 635. And we believe that this is another one of those smaller banks, especially given the backdrop of relative strength in Bank Nifty. I think banks should remain a center of attraction. So AU Bank on the banking side and Tata Power, which is second of our topic.
Right. Thanks a lot for joining us and taking us through your technical picks. That's the word coming in from Rahul Sharma. With that, we'll move on. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that cement companies have sought time from CCI to file their reply in alleged cement cartel matter. Tim C. Jaipuria is standing by with more details on the same. Tim C.
Well, sources are indicating that cement companies have sought more time from Competition Commission of India to file the response on the claims made by CCI over alleged cement cartel. Also, what we are given to understand, only once these cement companies they submit their response, that is when the Competition Commission is now slated to do a final hearing, which is expected by September end, post which in a month's time CCI could come up with a final order, which could be meaning some sort of penalty for these cement companies. Remember, ACC Limited, Ultratech Cement, Dalmia Cement, Shree Cement, Nuvoco Vista Corp and Ambuja Cement, along with Cement Companies and Manufacturers Association, were alleged in the cartelization report, and they have now sought more time, is what sources indicate. CCI in July had concluded investigations on these cement companies, and during the investigations it had unearthed evidences of cartel. CCI's investigation had covered 20 companies and 60 officials in the investigations, and CCI had asked cement companies and Cement Manufacturers Association to submit their response by early August. But yes, they've sought more time, more window to reply in detail to the investigation report. Let's see how soon the response comes in. Back to you.
Timsi, thank you very much for that. All the big cement companies are named in this cartelization, and I think the amounts as well are fairly big. But we'll await the developments. Get into a break on that note. On the other side, we'll be joined by Farooq Patel of KPI Energy to discuss the company's new project development. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Midcap Radar on CNBC-TV18. Well, it's steady going for the markets. We have the Midcap index, which is really outperforming today. So that one is up around 0.5%. Couple of stocks in the broader markets which are surging to the day's high. We have Reliance Industries, which is actually doing well. So that stock was up around 1.5% yesterday. Remember, Morgan Stanley had increased the target price for the stock. And again today, it is adding on to those gains. So that stock is sitting with gains of around 1.5%. But it's all about mid-caps on the show, right? So this is our segment Mid-Cap Spotlight. Mangalam is focusing on a mid-cap stock today, Roselle India. Mangalam, what is the reason for this trigger on the stock that we're seeing today?
Well, we're seeing a big move for starters on Roselle India. In fact, in just the last 10 sessions, it's grown about 26% in terms of market cap. Since the start of August, it's up 37%. And as we speak, in the last 1 year or so, the stock is up almost 90-odd%. And while the stock is moving higher, what's also moving higher is the delivery volumes. In fact, the last 3 trading sessions, the average delivery volume has been 1.6 lakh shares, and this compares with almost 70,000 shares on a daily basis since the start of August. And in the last 12 months, the average has been close to around 50,000 shares. The exchange on its part has asked the company what exactly explains this move that we're seeing in the stock and the volume. The company has said that it's investors' own perspective and absolutely market driven. The company has no role in increasing the volume of trade. So let's talk about what investors' perspective on Roselle India could be. Well, to start with, the company has 2 sources of revenue. It's got black tea as well as aviation products and services. And over the last few years, the contribution from tea has come off, and at the same time from aviation products and services has increased. From FY13, which was about 90% contribution from tea, it has gone down to sub-half in FY20 and almost 37% in the first quarter of FY23 itself. And as that happened, the revenue from aviation products has increased all the way up from 100 crores to close to 160 odd crores. Major contribution for their aviation products comes in from Boeing, Lockheed Martin as well as Honeywell, and they have an order book of close to 300 crores out there. But in FY22, the company in its annual report has written, for reasons of profitability and ease of doing business, aviation division has not focused on the domestic sector. And this is where the big trigger could be, because the change in defense procurement policy, indigenous items being procured by the government, is the company looking at supplying in the Indian domestic defense sector as well as far as aviation products are concerned? That could be a big business trigger for them. The other couple of factors, over the last few years, their borrowings have come down to about 150 odd crores. Promoters, they own 75% stake in the company. But what's interesting is that over the last 4 quarters, institutional shareholding has increased as well. From 0.3% in September 2021, it's gone all the way up to 3.3%. So there are a couple of triggers, and institutional shareholding is increasing with the balance sheet reducing. Let's see what happens to Roselle India.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now let's go across to the joint statement by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina, who is on a 3-day official visit to India.
बांग्लादेश की स्वतंत्रता की 50वीं वर्षगांठ, हमारे डिप्लोमेटिक संबंधों की स्वर्ण जयंती और बंगबंधु शेख मुजीबुर रहमान की जन्म शताब्दी को एक साथ मनाया था। पिछले वर्ष 6 दिसंबर को हमने पहला मैत्री दिवस भी साथ मिलकर पूरी दुनिया में मनाया। आज प्रधानमंत्री शेख हसीना जी की यात्रा हमारे आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के दौरान हो रही है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि अगले 25 सालों के अमृत काल में भारत बांग्लादेश मित्रता नई ऊंचाइयां छुएगी। फ्रेंड्स, प्रधानमंत्री शेख हसीना जी के नेतृत्व में बांग्लादेश ने उल्लेखनीय प्रगति की है। पिछले कुछ सालों में हमारा आपसी सहयोग भी हर क्षेत्र में तेजी से बढ़ा है। आज बांग्लादेश भारत का सबसे बड़ा डेवलपमेंट पार्टनर और क्षेत्र में हमारा सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है। हमारे घनिष्ठ सांस्कृतिक और पीपल टू पीपल संबंधों में भी निरंतर वृद्धि हुई है। आज प्रधानमंत्री शेख हसीना जी और मैंने सभी द्विपक्षीय, क्षेत्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों पर व्यापक चर्चा की। हम दोनों का मानना है कि कोविड महामारी और हाल के वैश्विक घटनाक्रम से सीख लेकर हमें अपनी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं को और मजबूत बनाना होगा। हमारे बीच कनेक्टिविटी के विस्तार से और सीमा पर ट्रेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास से दोनों अर्थव्यवस्थाएं एक दूसरे से और अधिक जुड़ेगी, एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट कर पाएगी। हमारा द्विपक्षीय व्यापार तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। बांग्लादेश के निर्यात के लिए आज भारत पूरे एशिया में सबसे बड़ा मार्केट है। इस वृद्धि को और गति देने के लिए हम द्विपक्षीय कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट पर शीघ्र चर्चा शुरू करेंगे। हमने आईटी और न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी जैसे सेक्टर में भी सहयोग बढ़ाने का निश्चय किया, जो हमारी युवा पीढ़ियों के लिए रुचि रखती है। हम जलवायु परिवर्तन और सुंदरबन जैसी साझा धरोहर को संरक्षित रखने पर भी सहयोग जारी रखेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, ऊर्जा की बढ़ती कीमतें इस समय सभी विकासशील देशों के लिए चुनौती पेश कर रही हैं। आज मैत्री थर्मल पावर प्लांट की पहली यूनिट के अनावरण से बांग्लादेश में एफोर्डेबल बिजली की उपलब्धता बढ़ेगी। दोनों देशों के बीच पावर ट्रांसमिशन लाइनों को जोड़ने पर भी उपयोगी बातचीत चल रही है। रूपसा नदी पर रेलवे ब्रिज का उद्घाटन कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाने की दिशा में एक उल्लेखनीय कदम है। यह ब्रिज भारत की लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट के तहत खुलना और मोंगला पोर्ट के बीच बनाई जा रही नई रेलवे लाइन का एक महत्वपूर्ण हिस्सा है। बांग्लादेश के रेलवे सिस्टम के विकास और विस्तार के लिए भारत हर प्रकार सहयोग जारी रखेगा। फ्रेंड्स, ऐसी 54 नदियां हैं जो भारत बांग्लादेश सीमा से गुजरती हैं और सदियों से दोनों देशों के लोगों की आजीविका से जुड़ी रही हैं। ये नदियां, इनके बारे में लोक कहानियां, लोकगीत हमारी साझा सांस्कृतिक विरासत के भी साक्षी रहे।
Okay, all right. That's the word coming in from the Prime Minister of India. Spoke about a wide range of issues when it comes to partnership between Bangladesh and India as well. With that, we'll move on now and talk about some stocks and we'll focus on the renewable space now. We have the management of KPI Green Energy with us. The company is setting up a 16-megawatt hybrid power project in Gujarat and has also has a number of independent power and captive power projects to its credit. We have Mr. Farooq Patel, who is the CMD of KPI Energy, who is joining us now to discuss this and the outlook on the business as well. Mr. Patel, good afternoon. Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, you know, you have an interesting business where you develop and maintain grid-connected IPP solar power projects, and you generate revenue by supplying power generated from its own plants, and the other one is captive power units. You also get some annuity revenue coming in from O&M operations. If you can give us a split of how much do you get from each of these three segments, and which is the segment which actually is the biggest growth driver for your company?
Thank you, and very good afternoon to you. One thing is KPI Green Energy Limited, the company name is, and we are in this business since 2013 as such, and we have a three segment. Of course, we have mentioned that IPP, CPP, and the say O&M business. In the IPP, we have our own 103 megawatt plant is operational in solar. In the CPP, we have already 65 megawatt orders are already operation, and in the end of this year, we will be reaching to 300 altogether. And just day before yesterday, we have got the order of 16.1 megawatt hybrid solar. In that, we are again with the solar and wind combination in the this segment. And this all we are doing a O&M our own, and we are giving taking the lease from the CPP customer also for that setting up the plant. Altogether, three revenue scheme are there, and we are doing good in this business. So ये कहूँगा कि we have the very good experience in the renewable energy, at least in Gujarat.
Talk a little bit about this hybrid power project of 16.1 megawatts in Gujarat. What's the timeline? What's the expected revenue?
The 23rd of March, before 23rd of March, we are going to commission this hybrid power to the PPA customer, and we are getting the at least 4 crores and something 80 lakhs unit per annum unit from that, and of course the revenue will be around 20 CR something.
It'll be 20 crores, the revenue from this new project.
New project, yes.
Okay. Generally, I also wanted to understand that you are what is the price at which you sell power to commercial customers? Discoms may be selling it at 9 to 10 rupees per unit. Do you get a discount? Do you sell it at a discount? And in general, what does it mean for your revenue? Say for this year, you've been doing well. What kind of growth are you expecting this year itself?
We are selling a power in a third party. We are selling the power to the different companies. Of course, they all are A-graded companies. You can see to the our declaration who are our customer, and the power cost is discount from the discom rate. That is our basic selling of USP.
How much discount is it? Is what I wanted to understand.
See, it's sometimes is 7 to 8%. That's it. But every month they are getting the 7 to 8% without investing a single rupee. They are getting that much discount from the discom rate.
Okay. And how much do you get from, say, commercial and industrial consumers? Is that a high margin segment for you? How much does it contribute overall to revenues right now? What kind of growth are you expecting here?
See, revenue we are getting from the IPP, say our own plant, it's a very good revenue. Of course, the EBITDA is very high. And in CPP also, we are doing a good, as our execution team are very powerful.
I mean, by good, if
we
you
are
can
getting a revenue from the both sides. We are getting a revenue from the both sides.
No, but how much is the growth expected? I get it that yes, it's good revenue. If you can quantify and give that number.
Okay, I can't say anything much as we are on a NSE and BSE, so there is some regulation. So we can't give you the number on that, but I can say the growth is 2 to 3 times at least every year you will get it. And by the 2025 end, we are going to reach to the 1000 megawatt. That is our goal.
Okay. All right. 1,000 megawatt in next few years. Mr. Patel, thanks a lot for joining us. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you so much for giving us all those details.
So nice of you. Thank you very much. And thanks, Reema and Sonal. And Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Patel, for joining us. That's all about KPI Green Energy. With that, we'll move on to the next stock that we are focusing on, Sanghi Industries. The stock has been buzzing in trade lately and has doubled from the lows it had hit in July. Nigel is joining us to tell us more as to what's happening. The stock is up 7% today as well, Nigel.
Well, that's right. Just in late July, the stock was half the price of what it was. And today it's moving higher and moving higher on very, very large volumes. The stock has doubled effectively from the lows that we saw on the 29th of July 2022 odd. Now, first up, you look at the financial performance and say maybe the company had a very good first quarter. No, that wasn't the case actually. The first quarter results were one of the weakest we have seen in terms of margins. It's come down to mid-single digits, so that wasn't the point. But a few days after the numbers, after the cooling off period did pass out, you had the promoter entity that came in there and backed up the stock with some money. They went ahead and they bought close to around 1.5% stake from the open market. And that gave some bit of confidence. Remember, the street is always skeptical on the company because they believe that debt is something that continues to weigh on the stock price and weigh on the financial performance as well. And the quarterly interest rate is nearly around 40 crores odd. The total debt on its books, that's the long and short term put it together, as of the last reported numbers, close to around 1,400 crore rupees odd. So you put together the current market capitalization as well as the debt, you get an EV of close to around 3,000 crores odd. You divide that by the total capacity. The rough EV per ton is around $62 on a per ton basis odd, which is fairly attractive. Though at its lows, it was much more attractive because the market capitalization was nearly half of what it was currently. Now, we're looking at a Kotak note that came in a few days ago. They said that, they put out a list of companies that could be in for a bit of a consolidation. And they also say that some of those companies could possibly offer strategic value. And one of the companies they mentioned, in fact, was Sanghi Industries out there with a capacity of around 6.1 million tons odd. So the key triggers from here on is there going to be some consolidation and will Sanghi Industries be part of that? Remember, it's a good asset, 6 million tons odd in the western part of the country. So let's see whether or not there is any kind of corporate action that's in the works. We have no confirmation as of now, but that's one point. The other factor is the debt is at around 1,400 crores odd. And that's, a large part of the EV. So if they can somehow bring that debt lower, then that EV becomes even more attractive. And finally, volumes that they're doing is less than 3 million tons odd. So they're not even functioning at 50% capacity utilization levels odd. One way of the street saying is that this current promoter is not able to ramp up the volumes. So there's a change of guard. Can that happen? So these are the top triggers for the stock. Remember, it's had a dream run. Let's see what happens from here on. But clearly, the street seems to be sniffing something. Back to you.
Very large volumes on this, Nigel. Today, nearly 58 lakh shares have traded on the NSE, which compares with a daily average of just about 15 lakh. But let's move on from Sanghi Industries. Sources say that the finance minister, along with top Finmin and steel ministry officials, reviewed the export duty on steel and iron ore. Tim C is back with us to tell us more. Tim C, could we expect some relief for the industry?
Well, it seems that some relief could be in offing very soon. But yes, as we speak, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that finance minister in a closed-door meeting along with top finance ministry officials and steel ministry officials took a detailed review of the current export duties that are being levied on steel and iron ore. Remember, in May, a 15% export duty was levied, post which the industry was saying that they are facing a lot of impediments because of this when it comes to their capex plans. And considering that a formal proposal was moved from Steel Ministry to Finance for its review, and now formally Finance Ministry has taken a detailed review under FM's chairmanship. Proposal is to go for a calibrated reduction of export duties on steel, whereas when it comes to the export duties on iron ore, they might stay for some more time. However, whether a final decision has been taken or not, well, yes, Revenue Department is considering right now the proposal. They are doing a detailed analysis, post which only a final decision can be expected.
Okay, all right, MC, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us all those details. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Midcap Radar Mutual Fund Corner. When we return, stay tuned.